Hi, everyone, and welcome to the latest monologue. This is the second in the work series. And today I want to point out the need for us to do intellectual work, particularly in the area of our political thinking as people. Um, there've been a lot of problems with the governance issues, um, justice issues, and general discontent with the way our government handles us as the citizens in certain ways. And no government is perfect anywhere in the world. So Kenya is no different. Kenya government is no different from any other elected government in any part of the world. But the difference in Kenya is the way the people behave towards it. You will see in a lot of discussions there are people who are rightly expressing discontent with one thing or another in the way government is delivering or not delivering services to us. But a very common response you say that you see, especially online, that's a sign of extreme intellectual indolence or laziness, is in instances where someone knows this person supported the government, the incumbent government during the elections, you hear someone saying, "Well, it serves you right. It serves Kenyans right. Those who supported these people when they were candidates, it served them right to suffer these high taxes or whatever problem it is you're suffering." That's incredibly lazy. It's shocking, actually. Um, First of all, high prices, high taxes, poor services are across the board. Across the board. It doesn't matter who you voted for. We all pay the same price for bread, milk, petrol, whatever. We are all getting hit with these housing levy, SHIF, and all these things that are taking about 40 something percent of our pay slips. So it doesn't matter. To say that is to abdicate your role of thinking. And the fact it's also the why I'm saying you abdicate your role of thinking is because by implication you're telling that person they should have supported the other candidate. The other candidate or the other party that you're saying this person should have supported are the ones bolstering the poor governance we have in Kenya today. I mean, no country has a perfect government, but Kenya is beginning to teach me that probably the greatest tragedy that can strike any nation is a false opposition. And it is the worst thing about false opposition is that it is a shortcut. People in opposition trying to find a shortcut into government with all the perks or whatever that goes into government. It's a shortcut politically towards material gain, but it's also a mental shortcut. It means you don't want to address the governance issues of bedeviling the nation, but you'd rather address your own pecuniary challenges and gain from that. And for one to think that the opposition joining the government is a just reward for anything is a show of incredible intellectual indolence. It's ridiculous in the extreme. And that's what bedevils us in Kenya. We have a false opposition with all the perks of being in opposition, of kind of the position of minority leader, these leadership positions in government, etc., etc. But right now, they're the most powerful political weapon in the hands of the government. And go around the world. I think this is unique to Kenya. I've read a lot about politics in many other places, but the 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 false opposition is a concept that Kenyans have somehow developed and perfected. And you can see, as I've said in one of my monologues before, Kenyans are incredibly attracted to anything that you can get while being lazy, anything that offers a shortcut, etc., etc. The other day, no less a person than our Chief Justice said that probably after elections, if there are disputes over elections, before going to court, they should look for some resolution mechanism. So we should have elections. We should have elections, and then people should not be going for victory with a picture of the government they want to form. They should be going with an effort of just getting a piece of government largesse. So you didn't win the election, okay, now go talk to those guys so that they can maybe give you a few crumbs from the cake. I mean, laziness and intellectual laziness is all right. It happens. It's part of every human society. But we can even allow it to happen in people who are in leadership. But for one, in leadership, in as important a position as the head of the Supreme Court, the Chief Justice, to express it, it shows the depth to which Kenya as a society has sunk intellectually. The fact that she didn't think there was anything wrong with expressing that, despite her position. If she was retired, it would be fine. If she was expressing it as a private citizen, it would be fine. It's even okay for her to hold that opinion privately. But for her to think it's okay to express it officially from her, not sitting chatting in a bar somewhere, from her Twitter X handle, that shows the depth to which we have sunk. And it's a depth that we have sunk to as a result of the attitude of the people. So we, the people, are the only ones who can probably um, uh, refloat this country from those depths, those intellectual depths, by holding our leaders to account. And by holding your leaders to account is holding them to whatever promises they made. Why don't our opposition politicians even have spokesmen on matters of foreign affairs or environment or finance and this kind of thing? It's because they're all just wanting a piece of the pie. They don't want to govern. In fact, ironically, Kenya, the position of being in the false opposition is actually arguably better than being in government. When you're in government, people hold you responsible for this, that, the other. When you're in false opposition, you just get money and no one holds you responsible for anything. You can play both sides of the aisle seamlessly. A government official cannot play the opposition side of the aisle, but opposition people play it comfortably, both sides. And that the fact that we in Kenya accept that is one of the biggest stumbling blocks to any progress. That's why even when we have protests, quickly all government needs to do is sort of search out the sort of those who may be de facto leaders or visible as the faces of these protests, and you just buy them. Or sometimes they're not even bought with much largesse. It's about photo ops with politicians. You see how excited some of these people would get having photo ops with MPs, with various leaders, and shaking hands, and now they're just put in the pocket. But a lot of people are disappointed by that, but I wasn't, because if you look at the sort of intellectual miasma that Kenya is politically, it's I would not expect leadership from those, as in political thematic leadership from those young people. They don't know enough. They don't know enough to do that. We should be guiding them, but we, my generation, are those who are playing both sides of the aisle. We are the ones in opposition and dabbling in government. We are the ones who criticize government, even those who are not politicians. They criticize government and make noise with hope that they will be given a position to silence them. And this is why we find it hard to speak out about or to think clearly about things like our SHIF system. We keep being told there's some strange thing they call teething problems. There's no teething problems. That thing is designed to reduce government expenditure on people's healthcare. It's designed to drop people off the healthcare net. It's designed to ensure that those with chronic illnesses, we either die off or start getting private, or those with means start getting the help privately. Those without public means die off and get off the and reduce the financial burden on government. That's simply what it is. It is no different from the previous NHIF in any other aspect. And it's like the university funding model. If we did the intellectual work and think about this strange thing that purports to get data about your parents in order to make decisions on whether you are supposed to be supported, yet the support is meant to be prevaricated on your academic performance or aptitude. The aim of that thing is to get, we've seen some students already, it's failed them and they're dropping out of university. That was the aim, to reduce students in university, to reduce educated Kenyans, to reduce the employment demand that naturally grows from having a highly educated workforce. That was the purpose. It wasn't designed to fund anybody. And so what is happening now is that thing is working as intended. But to see these things, we have to do the intellectual work. So we stop being told that these are teething problems. SHIF is just having teething problems. They're being sorted out. The university funding model is just people filled in the forms wrong. They didn't enter the correct data. It's just, the problem with CBC is not the curriculum; it's the implementation, etc. No, we must stop being naive, so naive as to think everything government does is for our good. Government works for its own good, especially in Kenya. So a lot of times when things fail us, it's because they were meant to fail us. Let's do intellectual work and let's think more about these things. So that will conclude this part of the work series. As we digest those, let's think about other fields that we'll be talking about coming up, like agriculture, um, resource conservation as well. Those are coming up soon, but let's think about those and let's do the intellectual work. It's for our own good. We are not doing it for anybody else.